South Point Casino has plenty of attractions for the whole family. Catch a movie. Our 16-screen movie theater includes 2 XD Extreme screens for the ultimate in viewing, sound, and luxury. After the show, treat the family.
Hey folks, Kenny White. I'm cutting up paper dolls here out of my sheets, trying to put them together and tape them together so I know what I'm doing. Like, good morning. It's Kenny White here at Sports by the Book from the South Point. Normally I'm with Alex White, but obviously every Friday, 9 a.m. with you by myself for about 30 minutes of sports talk and basically just today's games because that's all we have time for. And we've got 3 games tonight, college football. We have a game 5, National League, great game, Padres and Dodgers. And we have some hockey tonight, 4 games on the ice. So that's what we're going to go over. I wanted to cut my sheet up. I guess I won't do that. I just wanted to go over rushing numbers for you with tonight's games, my projections. I've got a model that I've used for years that I project the amount of rushing yards in the game for each team. A big stat, passing. Football's a passing game now, but if you could still run the football and the opponent can't stop the run, you got a good chance of winning that football game and a great chance of covering the spread. So over the years, the magic number is a team, if they can run for more than 150 yards and double up their opponent, which means their opponent would have to have 75 or less at 150. If you rush for 200 and you hold your opponent to 99, that's doubling up your opponent. If you run for 250 and your opponent gets 110, that's doubling up your opponent. But anything that one team has to rush for more than 150. So if it's 140 and the opponent's 130, you're just not going to score as many points, so your chances of covering are less. But if it's over 150, it's a 70% spread cover. It's a huge edge in college football. So that's one thing we have to take a look at each and every week when we look at these matchups. So tonight, 3 games. Let's start with the college football and go over these 3 games tonight. Northwestern at Maryland. I had a mistake in my spreadsheets. I run the entire season. I get all my teams done, work about 3 hours on each team, 2.5, 3 hours, depending on how much information I have on a team. In April, May, June. Try to finish up in early July. I finished up much earlier that when I was publishing college football magazines. But this year was kind of, I guess, late July at that time. And then I've got a couple of sites I go to that I can copy the entire schedule. I don't go to the team sites. It's 100 and, well, more than that. I'm doing the FCS as well. So over 260 teams, I'd have to go to their website. So I found a site that has all the schedules, copy, paste into the database, and then I put all my ratings in and home field advantages in and over-under number in, and then run the season and get a final projected score for every game. And today I'm looking at my sheet as I'm putting notes together for Northwestern and Maryland, and I only have Maryland a 2-point favorite, but yet my power ratings at the bottom of the sheet show a 5-point difference for Maryland. That didn't add up. You add home field for Maryland, you've got 9.5 is what the spread should be, but that didn't pan out. So there had to be a mistake. It was from the website that I copied and pasted from in late July, early August. They had Northwestern as the home team and Maryland as the road team. So my projection model in my computer, when I hit the buttons, add the team power rating, add the opponent power rating, add the home field, add all that information, and then calculate where the game is being played and give me a point spread. And that the computer thought the game was being played at Northwestern. It is not. It is being played in Maryland. So my adjusted number now, Maryland 8.5, total 42.5. South Point opened 11. I thought I saw 9.5s out in this game, but it's been bet back up to 11. I really don't have a play on the game. I don't like to bet against the steam. Well, the movement in this game, it's not really steam, but it moved a point. So it's kind of close to being in the parameters of what I like to have a difference from my number to the betting number to make a bet on the game. But it's just not there for me. So I'm passing on the side, passing on the total. I made the total 42.5. Open 45, bet up to 45.5, up three points. Northwestern, David Braun, head coach, 1 year there, 8-5 last year. He was hired by Pat Fitzgerald, who was the previous coach who was fired from his job because of player hazing. hired Braun to be his DC. Braun came from North Dakota State, where he was at there for 4 years, was a D coordinator at North Dakota State, one of the top FCS programs in the country. Fitzgerald is an outstanding defensive coach himself, so he must have seen something in Braun and the way North Dakota State ran their defense. So Braun gets that job. He was the interim coach when they suspended Fitzgerald for investigation. Braun gets the job, goes 8-5 last year. Very nice job, 9-4 ATS. So we know as a defensive coordinator, we know they'll be conservative by nature. They're not going to play high, fast, up-tempo offenses because they want to protect that defense. So well-balanced this year, 48% run. That's 100th in college football, 29.3 seconds in between plays. That's 102. That just fits perfectly with Braun. I could see a higher run percentage out of him this year because he's been behind, and that's why they've had to throw. They are 2-3 straight up, 1-4 ATS. This is a big, big game for this football team against Maryland this weekend. This is a must win. Their average score, their median score, I use medians, 13-13. They are 2-2-1 to the over. So not a big under team, even though the scores are so low. 106th offense, 67th best defense. So their defense is better than their offense. They have a 102 rating. Their performance rating so far this year, just a 99. So something's going to, I think those numbers could come together, or that performance rating comes up to their rating, and that can happen. The Maryland side, 41st best offense, 60 best defense, and I have number 62 overall. It's got to be a lot. These numbers from offense to defense are very razor-thin differences. So if a team improves a point on offense, they can move up 15 spots. Hearing a little feedback. Didn't know if you guys were trying to get a hold of me or not down there at the South Point. Very low on the volume if you are trying to get a hold of me. 107 power rating for Maryland. Their performance rating so far this year, a 107, right on the number. So I feel pretty good about their rating. I know exactly who they are. They are 3-2 this year. Win over Connecticut, win at Virginia, and a win against Villanova. They are just 2-3 ATS. So I feel like I'm pretty good handle on them. 4-1 to the over. So my lean is to Northwestern. I think it's a much bigger game for them. They need a win in conference. So I do lean to the dog in that Northwestern Maryland game. I did not bet it, probably won't. But again, a game that if both teams score early, I may look to bet under if they can get a much, much higher total, because Northwestern, again, they want to run the football and they want to slow things down. The other side, Maryland, 48% run right there with Northwestern, number 105 in the country in run percentage. So they do run it more than the average college team. And actually, no, I shouldn't say that. They run it a little less. They've been throwing it more. They've been the 29th most passing team in the country, 26.4 seconds, 49th in pace. So Maryland does go a little quick, and they do throw it more than normal, and so has Northwestern. I just don't see that as Northwestern's MO, though. They want to run the ball as much as they can. I think David Braun would rather have about a 60% run. So we'll see if he can do that tonight. UNLV and Utah State tonight. Barry Odom has done a great job with this Rebel program. They had 7 wins in the 3 previous seasons, 7, before Barry Odom came in, and he won 9 games last year. First time finishing as high as he did in the conference, going to a bowl game. Great success. Got off to a 4-0 start this year. We know we had the controversy with Matthew Sluka. Now Haji Malik Williams, the starter. If you looked at my book, I actually had Haji Malik Williams as the starter with Sluka QB1, QB2, but with the identical rating of a 25, which is 5 points above the average college quarterback. So they've got a good guy. Williams was the starter at Campbell 4 years, 5 years, I think. He had a redshirt year, so he is a 6-year senior. A lot of experience. He is a dual threat guy. That's what Barry Odom's offense does. He brought in Brennan Marion last year as his offensive coordinator. Marion was an assistant at Texas and Pittsburgh the 2 previous years, 1 year at each stop. He was the wide receiver coach at both of those spots. And Odom made him the offensive coordinator. Not sure how he knew him and how he gave him the OC job, But Marion must have come up with a great game plan and showed him his business model of an offensive coordinator, and it's a go-go offense, as he called it. But they're 28.1 seconds in between plays, rather average. Then they're running it the most of any team in the country besides a military academy. 69% of the time. Only Army, Navy, and Air Force run the football more than UNLV. So that's why I wanted to look at my rushing numbers. I could go back for you, and I will for the Maryland game tonight. Rushing yards are going to be pretty close. Maryland, I have 127, and Northwestern 119. UNLV tonight, 235. Utah State, 123. That is so close to being that 2-to-1 ratio that you would need to make a bet on that game. My number on this game I know wasn't that high. I have a 14.5-point difference between the two teams. UNLV crowd will travel well. You can't give any home field whatsoever in this game because of that fact. Utah State just will not have a great home field here tonight. Blake Anderson, the head coach at Utah State, second time around here for the Aggies, was at Arkansas State for 7 years, was let go there, come back to Utah State. He won 11 games in his first year, but then just 6 and then 6 the 2 years after that. Could be slipping as a head coach, maybe just not as motivated as he was. He has a house in Utah, and maybe that's he moved home for that reason, and maybe he's collecting a paycheck. I just don't see the same type of effort from his team. When you're looking at the games, they are 1-4 this year, and their last 4 games they've lost. At USC, 48-0. Utah, they lost 38-21. They put up a battle there. There was no Cameron Rising in that game for the Utes, but that is their biggest rival, and it is the only game they covered this year, and it was their only above average performance rating for the season. At Temple, on the road in Philadelphia, they lost 45-29, could not stop Temple's offense, and then they lost to Boise State, got crushed. Their performance rating at 94, I have them a 96.5. I really feel like they're more of a 94 team. So, UNLV in this game, anywhere from 16.5 to 18, I think really should be the best number that you could put out on this game. Looking at my week 7 model, and I have a total of 68, which is a good total with UNLV scoring as much as they do. UNLV put up 72 on Utah Tech. Now, Utah State is a better program than Utah Tech, but they put up 59 on Fresno and 38 on Syracuse. This offense is really starting to click. Haji Malik Williams, more accurate passer than what they had in Matthew Sluka. So I expect another 40-point game here from the Rebels easily, and that's what the numbers are saying, about 43, 43-25 in that range. This total opened 65 with the South Point, 66.5 right now. So not an edge. There's really no edge there, but maybe if this game gets off to a slow start and this total drops to the low 60s, we can go over there. That San Francisco Seattle game last night, how about that in the NFL? 3-0 at the end of the first, and did not look like it was going to be a high-scoring game. And then, both offenses just took over. And that could happen in this game as well. So I'll look in-game if they get off to a slow start to bet that over. Utah at Arizona State tonight. This is a really good football game now. I guess maybe it's not as good because Cameron Rising's starting, because I'm making a bigger favorite for the Utah Utes. 8.5 and 48 with Cameron Rising. I make Utah. South Point numbers, they opened 6, bet down to 5.5. I think you're going to see that go back up to 6. Total 45.5, went up 0.5 point to 46. I think you'll see that go up as well. So if you like Utah and you like over, I would get in now. If you like Arizona State, I would wait. You may get 0.5 point better on the side and the total. Kyle Whittingham for Utah, 19 years, 162 and 79. He's a spread cover guy, that 130 and 104. He is covering spreads. His teams overachieve. Interesting fact on his totals, I never really thought of them as an over team, but 119 and 105 over. So he has gone over this year. Under, though, the trend has changed a little bit. He's just 1-4, but Remember, they haven't had Cameron Rising the last 3 weeks, and he was injured in the Baylor game, didn't play a lot. So the first game of the year was Southern Utah. They won 49-0. Could have gone over that game if they, Whittingham doesn't run scores up. So a little crazy on that when you're looking at that the numbers just don't match up when he's an over coach and goes 1-4 under. That's because he doesn't have Cameron Rising, but he does have Rising back tonight. That's a 4.5 point increase in the power rating over Isaac Wilson, who's a freshman. Rising, I think, a 7th-year senior, has a ton of experience and is a really good quarterback. Sam Levitt for Arizona State, a guy that's a really good quarterback, is a redshirt freshman, started his career at Michigan State, and he has really been good for Arizona State. They are 4-1 this year. Kenny Dillingham, 34 years old. I think he's the youngest head coach in college football. Last year was his first year, went 3-9 for the Sun Devils, but already this year has eclipsed that with a 4-1 record. Great job this guy has done, and I got a feeling he's a very talented coach. He was at Memphis for 3 years, and then he was signed by Auburn, Gus Malzahn, to be his offensive coordinator. That's really a high praise. Left for Florida State and was the OC there for 2 years. Left there to go to Oregon, and he was the OC at Oregon for 1 year. And then he got the Arizona State job, just a rising star in the business. And year 2, looks like this kid knows what he's doing. 4-1 ATS as well, 3-2 to the over. His home games last year were 5-3 over with 2 really good quarterbacks. My total, again, 48. I like this over 46 points. I don't have a huge difference on it, but again, Utah may have adjusted their over-under down a little bit too far because Isaac Williams was a quarterback and this team's 4-1 to the under. They're an over team, and that's what Kyle Whittingham has been in his career, an over coach. And Dillingham is an offensive guru, and he is 5-3 over at home. This year, 2-1 over in his home game. So that's something to take a look at. The over in tonight's football game at 46. Also could be very hot there tonight. Let me check and see what that the game time, the kickoff is. Arizona State, I figured it'd be a night game. It is a 7:30 game tonight. And the weather, let me check that real quick for you because that's very important to know. If we can get a lot of heat, it does help scoring. It wears the defense out. And the offense, they know where they're going, so they do not get as worn out as the defense does. Tempe, Arizona, 87 degrees today. Right now, it's 105 is the high. And let's look at the 7:30 forecast for Arizona State. Tempe, if I'm getting it right, please load up there so we can know. But I like the over here tonight. Looking at 7:30 tonight, it's going to be 96 degrees at kickoff. Very little wind, so it's going to be warm there. That's good for the overs. Both offensive guys. I like it over. Utah, Arizona State. I talked myself into that one to the over. Didn't have much on the other games. And again, I looked to maybe go in-game under on Northwestern. Looked to maybe go over in-game on UNLV. But pregame, I'm going to go over the 46. Utah, Arizona State, because Cam Rising is back. Major League Baseball. Big game tonight. Padres, Dodgers. Yu Darvish, 38 years old, still getting it done in the big leagues. He pitched game 1, 7 innings, 1 run, 2 walks, 3 strikeouts. So they've seen him, the Dodgers, they have seen him 4 times this year, 3 early in the season. The third one was his best effort. Another great game from Darvish against the Dodgers. 7 innings, 3 hits, no runs. I didn't go back to see who was in the lineup for the Dodgers because they've had some injuries on the season. Darvish 7-3, 3.31 ERA. Yamamoto, and not the first Yamamoto in Major League Baseball history. Jordan Yamamoto used to pitch for the Florida Marlins. Now, I'm not sure if there's any relation there. I don't think there is, but Yoshinobu is an outstanding pitcher. This guy has got great numbers of what he's shown so far in the big leagues for the Dodgers. An ERA this year of 3 and a whip of 1.11. But some of the other numbers are much, much better than that. His median start on the season Yamamoto. And now you got to remember when he missed almost 3 months. When he came back, the Dodgers put him on a pitch count, basically going 4 or 5 innings, and he was only pitching that early in the year. But at one point, they did work him up into 6, 7 innings per game. Not sure if he'll go that deep tonight. They may have to turn it over to the bullpen. But your median numbers for Yamamoto: 5 innings, 4 hits, 1.5 runs, 1 walk, 6 strikeouts. So a base runner per inning, but 1.5 earned runs. Darvish on the entire season: 5 innings, 3.5 hits. It keeps you not a lot of great contact against Darvish. 2 runs, 1 walk, 4.5 strikeouts. So that's their numbers on the year. I made this game $1.25 for the Dodgers. No play for me there. I did make this total 9, but with the start time tonight at 5:35, actually 5:08. We're going to get shadows in that game, and when I have shadows, I take a half run off my total because it's an advantage for the pitchers, a little bit more difficult for the hitters. I make this game 8.5. It is 8 under. South Point opened 7.5 over. They are now at 8 under, and they opened the Dodgers $1.36. They're at $1.38 right now. Again, my number 125. And adjusted the total to 8.5. So really don't have a lot there. This is a big game. I like to go under in game 7s. This is a game 5, but it is the winner take all. So it resembles a game 7, which maybe I take another run off it just to make sure that I don't bet this over. And I leave it at 8. So again, betting very small. If I made a bet on these, and that total that I gave you earlier, over 46 in Utah and Arizona State, I'm only betting 1%. 1% of the bankroll. You got to manage your money. I have a lot of plays in college football this week that I did bet 3 to 4% on, and there'll be a lot of FCS games tomorrow that I will bet 3 to 4% on. That's it for baseball tomorrow. Well, let me go over tomorrow's game because I did make a play here after my show, Bet the Gambit. Talked myself into this one. The numbers reflect it as well. Detroit Tigers, Cleveland Guardians, game 5, winner take all. Tarek Skubal, Cy Young Award winner, Matthew Boyd, really solid left-handed pitcher that was a Detroit Tiger. He threw 4 2/3 shutout innings the first matchup against Skubal, and Skubal was perfect in his appearance versus the Guardians. The Detroit Tigers, when I looked at this number this morning, and my numbers have Cleveland the favorite in the game, it's because the offense is so low for Detroit. And I gave Skubal an extremely high rating for pitching on the road. And in the playoffs, all Tarek Skubal has done in his start against Baltimore and Cleveland: 13 innings, no earned runs, 1 walk, 14 strikeouts. This guy is a big left-handed pitcher that pounds the zone. Outstanding pitcher, and Cleveland's going to have a tough time hitting him. Matthew Boyd, again, crafty lefty that can get you outs, and he's done it since his return. His last 5 starts in the regular season: 4 1/3, 4 hits, 1 run, 2 walks, 6 strikeouts. Skubal, 6 innings, 4 hits, 1 run, no walks, 7 strikeouts. So I did make Cleveland, the home team, Cleveland the favorite. I keep making that Freudian slip, though, and I keep saying Detroit because I feel like Skubal should be the favorite. He's the Cy Young Award winner. But Cleveland's offense is far better than Detroit's when it comes to versus lefty. I made Cleveland $1.35, total 5.5. It is 6 under. You can go under 3 for the first 5, minus 15. I think it's a solid bet. I think this is a 1-0 game after 5. You just got to stay out of the big inning. You got to get out of the first with a no run in the first. And that might be another bet on the Nerfy, no run scored in the first inning. With these 2 pitchers and these 2 lineups, these are 2 below average offensive teams and 2 really good pitchers. I've got, again, Skubal rated sky high. So going to be tough to win there. I'm not betting the Guardians for the game. I'm just betting the first 5 innings under 3 in this contest. And if it gets late and it's 0-0 and Skubal has to come out for Detroit, I will probably bet the Guardians at that point if I can lay a low price, less than a dime in game on that one. Hockey, let's do that real quick. 4 games tonight on the ice, and we'll get you out of here and on your way for a great Friday. And a big Saturday weekend coming up. It's going to be a lot of fun. College football is getting exciting. We had some huge upsets last week. I think we're going to get more this week. That's what happens in college football. Tampa at Carolina tonight. Frederick Anderson makes his return. Fourth year with Carolina. Last year injured, only started 18 games. He is outstanding in the net. Last year he was having a career year with the Hurricanes. I think he's their best goalie. I made the Hurricanes $1.53. This line up now to $1.40 at the South Point. So I would not have a play at that price. I made the total 6. It's right there. But if you can find something lower than $1.30 on the Hurricanes, would be a bet for me. Chicago at Winnipeg tonight. Arvid Soderblom is in net for the Blackhawks. Young guy. I think he's going to be a very, very good goalie, but he is the backup. I did take off 15 cents off the side and the total in this game. Connor Hellebuck for Winnipeg, one of the best in the NHL, the best goalie in hockey last year. I think it's the Veneza trophy that he won. He's a big favorite today. Looking at the South Point lines, I believe in the $2 favorite area. That's Chicago at Winnipeg. At the South Point, minus 250, the take back plus 210 on Chicago, 6 under 15. I made Winnipeg 219 and 5 over. That's a full goal difference. I'm going under 6 tonight. I'm really relying on Connor Hellebuck for Winnipeg to keep the scoring down here. Our the Vegas Golden Knights tonight host St. Louis, the Blues. Aiden Hill in goal against Jordan Binnington, a top-notch goalie matchup. I made the Knights 250 and 5.5 over 15, but boy, they were a scoring machine the other night. This total has been brought down from because of St. Louis, not the highest of scoring teams. Binnington, a great goaltender as well. But Vegas, I've always think is Butch Cassidy is a defensive coach, so I always think that their defense is going to take over. But that offense was clicking on all cylinders. But you can't take that momentum from one game to the next. And that was their biggest rival in Colorado. I do expect a little bit of a letdown. I'm not laying $2. I'm not going under the 6. I'm just passing. This is early in the season, second game for both teams. We need to know more. We need to make adjustments. So I'll pass in that game. The bottom game, Philadelphia is at Vancouver. Two of the weaker goalies going tonight. This is the weakest goalie matchup. Samuel Ersson for Philadelphia tonight, Kevin Lankinen for Vancouver. Lankinen played a couple different teams the last 2 years. I remember from Chicago most. I think he was with Nashville and now on to Vancouver. He is the third string goalie because Thatcher Demko, their number 1 guy, is out. So Lankinen number 3. I made this game Vancouver 171. That's about where it is in the market. South Point open 65, bet up to 70. 6 over 15, bet up to 6 over a quarter. And again, my total was only 5.5 over, but I've got to make a much bigger adjustment because we're at the third string goalie here. And Thatcher Demko, my numbers are really based off of him. I should have adjusted to the second string goalie and now to the third string goalie, which Lankinen's not that far off. So he has NHL experience. That's a key for him. But I don't want to go under in this game. I really don't. I don't. If it was Thatcher Demko, I would go under the 6, but I don't think we'd be looking at 6 over 25 with Thatcher Demko in net. So basically one play for me tonight. That's Winnipeg under the 6 for Chicago. And if you could find a $1.30 or less on Carolina, I would play them with Frederick Anderson in goal for the Hurricanes. So that's it for me today. You have more great shows to watch today. Punchlines, Frank Nicotero. He's on at noon every Monday to Friday. At noon, you can catch Frank. Always outstanding information and very, very funny shows. Great personality, and he's a comedian. That's that just goes right for the course. So Frank's great. The show's great. Please tune in. All the other race day. I don't have my information in front of me. Ralph Sirocco does an amazing job with Race Day. A lot of great followers, a lot of great guests on the show. Football Frenzy. I know we have a 2-hour show tonight with Football Frenzy, Sports by the Book edition. And then this weekend, Jeff Parles and Alex White. Tomorrow morning, 8 a.m. will take you right up to kickoffs of the early games. And then on Sunday, an hour before the first kickoffs of the NFL, 9 to 10. Alex White and Jeff Parles will take you up to the NFL. So for Kenny White, for the South Point, and Sports by the Book, we appreciate you watching. Please subscribe and like. I will see you back on Monday with Alex White and Sports by the Book. Have a great weekend, folks.